Today we learned how to factor trinomials. So three terms. There we go. Oh my gosh. There we go. Okay, so what did we do when we had a question like this? What were we looking for? Numbers that multiply to the n term and add to the middle term. So what multiplies to -16 and adds to -6? I heard from somebody. Somebody said it. No, not 2 and 4. 2 and 8, right? 2 times 8 is 16. How do I make it so that they will add to -6? Which one has to be negative? 8, right? So then it would turn into x minus 8, x plus 2. Now, what if I made the middle term 0? 0x. So in other words, we've written it like this. What multiplies to -16 and adds to 0? What are the factors of 16? Let's go through it. 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. So you're going to choose 4 and 4. One of them has to be negative though, right? Because that's how you're going to get them to add to 0. So it's going to turn into x minus 4, x plus 4. This is the type of factoring we're going to look at today. This is called, if you remember from that lesson the other day, a difference of squares, okay? When you have two terms separated by a minus sign, that is a difference of squares, okay? And to factor it, you're going to form two brackets, and essentially you just square root each one. The square root of 16 is 4 and -4. One will be positive, one will be negative. And square root of x squared would just be x. So they have to look like that. So all the factoring we're going to do in this lesson is difference of squares. So x squared plus -9, sorry. Two terms separated by a minus sign, a subtraction sign. Can you square root 9? 3, right? Can you square root x squared? It'll just be x. So it just turns into x plus 3, x minus 3. What about 2? X squared minus 49. So what does it become? Positive 7 and -7. So x plus 7, x minus 7. 36, can you square root it? So what is it? There you go. What about 100? A squared minus 100. So just a plus 10, a minus 10. What about x squared minus 1? One and -1, right? It doesn't matter if the negative comes first or in the bracket or the other or reverse. The positive one is first. That's difference of squares. Now we're going to tweak it a bit as we move forward, but essentially look for two terms separated by a subtraction sign, square root each term. That's all you're doing. Sorry? Difference means subtraction, and squares is because they are both squared. The square of 3 is 9. Okay. Before we move on, all I want you to do is question number 2, please. So we skip to this. Now We've got a number in front in the first term. All right? But look at that number. Can you square root 16? Yes. If it's square rootable, that's not even a word, but we'll pretend it is. If you can square root it, it's still a difference of squares. So what do you think a becomes? What's the square root of 16? 4. What's the square root of t squared? T. What's the square root of 49? 7. So we should get 4t plus 7, 4t minus 7. It's the exact same process, except now we've just put one extra number in front of it. What about b? Can you square root 81? So it's going to become 9a plus 1, 9a minus 1. C. So it becomes, there you go. D. 6p minus 5q, 6p plus 5q. E. Oh. Is it a difference of squares? Does it have a subtraction sign between them? So you can't do it. It's not possible. You failed. All right. So it has to be a difference of squares. It has to have a subtraction sign. If it's an addition sign, it's not a difference of squares. You can factor it with greatest common factor. This one you can't. So this one you can't do anything to this one. F. Square root 64. 8. Can you square root 9? 3. Can you square root a squared? Yes. Can you square root b squared? So what does it become? And then, all right. There you go. All right. So they can increase a bit in complexity, but it's still the same thing. It must be two terms separated by a minus sign, and then you can do a difference of squares if they're both able to be square rooted. Okay. Number 4, please, peoples. All right. Okay, page 204. So these ones, we have two terms separated by a minus sign, so we want to think it's a difference of squares. However, can you square root 2 and get a nice whole number? No. Can you square root 50 and get a nice whole number? No. But is there a common factor between 2 and 50? 2. So you can take out a common factor. What am I left with in the brackets if I take out a common factor? A squared and 25. Thank you. Whoever said 25. Now, is that a difference of squares inside the brackets? Yes, because you can square root a and you can square root 25. So what does it become? A plus 5, a minus 5. And the 2 just sits out in front. So first thing is always look to see if you can take out a common factor. What about b? Is there a common factor? 3. I'm left with x squared minus 4y squared. Is that a difference of squares? What does it become? Yeah. Perfect. All right, what about the next one? Common factor? 4. If I pull that out, I'll get 36 p squared q squared minus 1. Perfect. 6bq plus 1, 6bq minus 1. What about this one? D. Common factor. 3. Anything else? The x, right? Remember, there's an x in both, so you take the lowest exponent one. So 3x comes out. What am I left with on the inside if I take out a 3x? And minus 9. And then that's a difference of squares. So 3x, x plus 9, or sorry, x plus 3. X minus 3. Okay, I got one more to show you. All right, what if I gave you something like this? What if I gave you that and I said factor it? Okay. That's right. X2 plus 1, x squared minus 1. Am I done? Why not? That's right. So can I factor both of these again? Both? What's the difference of squares? What does difference mean? Subtraction. So only this one is a difference of squares. So this stays the same. X squared plus 1 stays the same. This one becomes x plus 1, x minus 1. That is full marks right there. Okay? So just watch that. Just because you do it once, you generate something, always look to see if you've generated another difference of squares. If you have, factor. Okay? And that usually happens when this is 4 or 6 or 8 or whatever, things like that. All right. I would like you to do number 6 and 7 A to E, please. A to E. 7 A to E. There we go. That makes more sense.